Laura, a 40-year-old American veterinarian, stood silently in the vast African savanna, where the weak dawn light pierced through the thin mist, casting a crystalline sheen on the grass. But the peaceful beauty was merely a fragile veneer hiding the cruelty of the wild world. This morning a roar tore through the stillness, not the majestic roar of the savanna's lord, but the painful, desperate sound of a trapped lion. "It's dying," Laura whispered, her breath catching, her heart pounding as if it would burst from her chest. From a young age, Laura had harbored a strange love for animals, a passion her family, living in a comfortable suburban home in America, could never understand. They had everything: money, stability, and dreams of their daughter becoming a prestigious lawyer. But Laura didn't want her life confined to stuffy courtrooms. She dreamed of endless fields, the wind whistling in her ears, and the breath of wild creatures. Choosing to pursue veterinary medicine wasn't just a decision, it was a rebellion. Her family cut off all contact when she boarded the flight to Africa, leaving her with loneliness and a cold warning: "You'll regret it." Now, standing in the savannah, Laura didn't regret her choice, but she had never prepared for this moment. The lion's roar grew weaker, like a flame flickering in the cold wind. She knew time was running out. As she approached the sound, a pungent smell hit her, the stench of blood and death. Before her lay a massive male lion, its once golden fur now stained with dried blood, its front leg clamped tightly in a serrated metal trap. Around it, human footprints and trampled grass hinted at a terrifying truth: the poachers were still nearby. As dawn broke, the sky erupted with gunfire from the experienced ranger team, drowning out the savannah's wind. Laura shouted, "They're coming back, the ones who set this trap." With each frantic heartbeat, she realized she not only had to save the lion but also face the poachers lurking in the dense mist. Would she have enough time? Or would both she and the lion become the next prey? The lion lay there, its front leg, bleeding, its golden eyes reflecting pain. Laura approached, medical kit in hand, her voice gentle. "Calm down, I'll help you." The poachers, after a night of stalking and setting traps, had captured the magnificent male lion, but now they panicked at the sudden arrival of the ranger team. Bullets fired into the air, not aimed at anyone, were enough to make them flee, leaving their prey in the cold metal trap. Laura, the young veterinarian, stood among the team, her heart pounding. She had just moved from America to protect wildlife, and this was her first taste of such a tense confrontation. The ranger team, led by Tendai, a seasoned man with eyes as sharp as an eagle's, signaled for silence. They knew a wounded lion could be deadly, but Laura couldn't stand by and watch the creature die in agony. "We have to act now," she said, her voice brimming with determination. The morning light filtered through the leaves, casting faint streaks on the ground, but Laura was ready to face the greatest challenge of her life. Little did she know, this moment would forever change her bond with the lion. Subscribe to the Animal Kisa channel to follow this incredibly touching story. The dawn light guided the rescue team to a young male lion, its leg caught tight in a metal trap. Blood pooled red on the ground, its eyes flashing with desperation and ferocity. "Be careful, it could attack at any moment," Tendai warned, gripping the tranquilizer gun. Laura took a deep breath and stepped closer. "Let me try," she said, her voice trembling yet resolute. Under the harsh midday sun on the vast savannah, the team, led by Laura and Tendai, approached Sefu, the young male lion, lying motionless, its front leg snared in a sharp metal trap. Dried blood streaked its golden fur in dark red lines. But the real danger lay in the pride of lions nearby. 5 lionesses and 2 adult males prowled around Sefu, their sharp eyes locked on their injured companion. They growled low, moving slowly but with menace, ready to lunge at anyone who dared approach. Their loyalty filled Laura with both awe and fear. Laura, a wildlife rescue expert, knew they had to drive the pride away to save Sefu. But this pride wasn't easily intimidated. Tendai, a master of lion behavior, whispered, "We have to scare them, but one mistake and they'll attack." They opted for loud noises and bright lights. The team blasted loudspeakers with gunfire sounds and roaring engines while Laura shone, a powerful flashlight into the lion's eyes. The blinding light and deafening noise forced some to retreat, but the lead lioness held her ground, growling fiercely. Laura ordered rubber bullets fired into the air. The echoing blasts, finally, pushed the pride back into the bushes, Though their gazes never left Seifu, time was slipping away and Seifu's wound was worsening. With the rangers standing guard, rifles ready, Laura and Tendai moved in. Tendai aimed the tranquilizer gun, and the dart sank into Seifu's shoulder. The lion roared, then slipped into sleep. The team quickly cut the trap, but the pride still watched from afar, refusing to leave. Suddenly, a large male lion advanced, stopping just 50 meters away. Laura's heart raced, but she signaled the rangers not to shoot. "Don't provoke it," she whispered. Tendai bandaged Seifu swiftly, sweat dripping down his forehead. As they lifted Seifu onto the vehicle, the male lion took a few more steps, its gaze icy. The team held their breath, but it turned back to the pride. Seifu was finally safe on the vehicle. Laura glanced back. The pride stood firm, their eyes burning with anger, as if etching the memory of those who took Seifu away. When Laura, an experienced veterinarian with a deep love for animals, first saw the injured lion rescued from a metal trap, she named him Seifu, meaning sword in Swahili, as a promise that he would regain his strength. Seifu was in a dire state, a deep bleeding wound on his front leg, a gaunt body ravaged by hunger, and golden eyes flashing with a mix of ferocity and fear. Driven by her boundless compassion, Laura resolved to care for Seifu with unwavering devotion. Over the months ahead, Laura created a spacious quarantine area designed to make Seifu feel safe without being confined. In the early days, she had to lightly sedate him to tend to his injury. With gentle hands, she cleaned the blood, stitched the gash, and applied antibiotics. Though weakened, Seifu still growled and bared his teeth whenever she approached. Undeterred, Laura whispered, "I'll help you, Seifu," her warm voice a quiet balm against his pain. Day after day, Laura spent hours by Seifu's side. She changed his bandages, administered medicine, and prepared nutrient-rich meals, fresh meat and bones to rebuild his strength. At first, Seifu remained motionless, watching her with cautious eyes. But Laura was patient, using food as a bridge to trust. One day she offered him a piece of meat, and instead of snarling, Seifu ate slowly. It was the first glimmer of connection. Over time, a bond began to take root. Laura would sit by the enclosure, reading aloud or sharing stories in a soft, soothing tone. Seifu grew accustomed to her voice, his ears twitching whenever she spoke. One afternoon, as she sang, Seifu unexpectedly approached and lay down near her, as if craving her presence. Laura smiled, silent tears of joy tracing down her cheeks. When Seifu's leg wound finally healed, leaving only a faint scar as a mark of his survival, Laura embarked on restoring his wild strength. With trembling yet resolute hands, she introduced a large, colorful rubber ball, hurling it into the quarantine area. It landed with a dull thud in the stillness. Seifu, his golden eyes cold and distant, lay still, watching the ball roll with indifference. But Laura persisted. Day after day, through blazing sun or chilling rain, she threw the ball, her gentle yet firm voice calling, "Come on, Seifu, give it a try." At last, on a golden afternoon bathed in sunlight filtering through the trees, Seifu rose. His initial steps faltered, but then he swung his paw, striking the ball with force. It rolled far across the ground. Laura cried out in overwhelming joy, tears streaming down her sun-kissed face, her heart pounding as if it might burst. She didn't stop. There, Laura carefully arranged small rocks within the enclosure, crafting a rugged, obstacle-laden path. With endless patience, she guided Seifu to climb each one. At first, he stumbled repeatedly, his legs shaky, his breath heavy, but Laura was ever present, whispering encouragement and rewarding his successes with fresh meat. Slowly, his tentative steps evolved into powerful leaps, his once frail frame now muscular, his golden fur gleaming like a living flame under the sun. Then came a pivotal moment. Laura sat by the enclosure, her book slipping from her hands as Seifu approached. He didn't growl or retreat. Instead, he settled down, resting his head on her lap, allowing her trembling hand to brush his thick, warm fur. She stroked him, feeling the vitality of his powerful body beneath her fingertips. Seifu purred softly, his once fierce eyes now tender, as if declaring his complete trust. Laura choked back sobs, tears falling freely, her heart swelling with a bittersweet mix of happiness and sorrow. She had tamed this wild creature with love, yet knew he wasn't hers to keep forever. Time marched on, and Sefu made a full recovery. His fur shone sleek and vibrant, his body pulsed with life. He was ready to return to the wild. But Laura's heart ached as the day of parting loomed. One early morning, as the first rays of dawn illuminated the vast savanna, she led Sefu to the edge of freedom. Kneeling, she fastened a tracking collar around his neck, her hands shaking so violently she nearly dropped it. Tears cascaded down her face as she whispered through sobs, "It's time, Sefu, go now." Sefu gazed at her, his golden eyes flickering like the final ember of their bond. He stepped out, paused to look back at Laura one last time, then unleashed a deep, resonant roar that shattered the silence. The sound pierced her heart like a blade, but she stood rooted, watching his form fade into the endless savanna. The wind carried the scent of freedom and took a piece of her soul with it. 10 years later, Laura returned to Africa as a renowned conservationist, driven by a mission to safeguard the dwindling savanna ecosystem. She spearheaded an ambitious initiative to combat poaching, restore nature, and rescue endangered wildlife. The work consumed her, yet the memory of Sefu, the lion she'd saved and released a decade earlier, remained etched in her heart. She never dared hope to see him again, believing time and distance had severed their tie. One day, while leading rangers to free a trapped rhino, Laura heard a low, rumbling growl in the distance. She signaled the team to halt, her eyes sweeping the expansive savanna. Beneath an acacia tree's shade, a pride of lions lounged. Laura held her breath, peering from the jeep. Then she saw him, a majestic male, his thick mane dancing in the breeze. Around his neck gleamed a small collar, the geek tag she'd placed on Sefu. Her heart stuttered. "It can't be," she murmured, her hands trembling on the wheel. The ranger team, led by Tendai, warned, "Stay back, Laura, he's wild now, not the Sefu you knew." She nodded, but her gaze never wavered. The pride stirred, moving off, yet the male lion paused. He turned, his golden eyes meeting hers, cutting through years and miles. A shiver coursed through her. "Does he know me?" she wondered, sweat beading on her brow, her pulse racing. The lion advanced slowly, each step deliberate and earth-shaking. The rangers raised tranquilizer guns, Tendai shouting, "Laura, retreat!" But she stood transfixed, caught in his gaze. Strong, yet soft, a living echo of a decade past. Her breath quickened as she whispered, "Sefu, it's me." He stopped a few meters from the jeep, sniffed the air, and let out a gentle growl. Warm, unthreatening. Overcome, Laura stepped from the vehicle, ignoring the ranger's protests. She faced Sefu, tears brimming as he drew near, nuzzling her hand. "Sefu!" she gasped, kneeling to embrace him, her fingers sinking into his warm, thick fur after so long. Sefu purred, lying beside her as if time had stood still. The rangers watched, awestruck, lowering their weapons after nearly 15 minutes of this extraordinary reunion. They filmed it, and the tale spread globally, moving countless hearts with a friendship that defied time. Laura and Sefu's story transcends a mere rescue. It's proof that even wild lions possess hearts capable of love. Sefu never forgot the kind woman who gave him a second chance, and Laura devoted her life to protecting his kind with boundless love. Not every rescued animal remembers its savior as Sefu did Laura, but that mustn't dull our care for the innocent lives in peril. Each rescue shines as a beacon of hope, a testament to compassion in a world shadowed by cruelty. Ironically, while Sefu showed human qualities of loyalty and affection, poachers, humans themselves, succumbed to savage instincts, wielding modern traps and ruthless weapons to destroy life. Thankfully, people like Laura and her ranger team toiled tirelessly to shield wildlife, restoring balance to this world. They embody the enduring power of kindness amid adversity. This tale reminds us that love can bridge the divide between human and beast. If Laura and Sefu's journey stirs your soul, please subscribe, like, and share this video to support the Animal Kisa channel. Thank you for joining us, and see you in the next story.